Hi guys, welcome to the Art of Chelsea. Today I am going to be checking out these cute little alcohol markers that I got at Michael's. Now, I'm not expecting great things because they're normally only $9.99 a packet. They were on sale for $5.99, but they're really cute and I like the colors, so I figured I'd do some test swatches to see what they had. And then I don't have a lot of markers. I'm fairly new to markers, but I thought maybe compare to the few other brands that I do have. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with the colors. They're all really bright and they went on well. They're pretty close. I don't know if you can see how it looks on camera, but they're pretty close to what they say they're going to be, with the exception of a few colors are just a little bit off, but most of them are similar to what they say they're going to be. So that's really neat. I'm going to talk about the marker itself. Hashtag coloring is, I guess, what it's called, and it's made by Art Alternatives. And so these are dual nib, and they have these little notches to stop it from rolling. The name of the color is on both sides, and this is the nib, and then this is the brush end. So there's not a lot of give on the nib. It's pretty stiff, or on the brush end, and same with the nib. They make good lines. Because it's not as soft, it's hard to kind of get the flick blend. I feel like that's going to be an issue. And there's no difference to either cap end, so you can put them on either end. I started with this blue because I have a Prismacolor blue that is kind of similar, and this is just the chisel in the regular nib, and it's the closest other color that I have. That's just a little bit darker. But they seem fairly similar. I mean, I'm not a marker expert, but if someone were to be like, hey, check out both of these, I wouldn't know the difference on which one cost more and which one didn't. So here is, these aren't really, they look like they're going to be close by their caps, but they're not. So I'm just laying down the different colors and trying to blend them into each other. They both, what I noticed is that this has a stiffer brush nib, and so you're kind of just laying it down. Whereas this one's the Copic, and if you can see how much it bends, it makes it a lot easier to blend color. And then the only other markers that I have are Winsor & Newton, and I only have gray in those. And chisel nib. And I didn't start this off with really good high hopes because I kind of tested these out in the dark yesterday, and I was like, oh my god, these are terrible. I'm going to have to return them and get my money back. But so far, I'm liking them. This is an illustration of mine from, I don't know, probably forever ago. But I had it on hand, so I printed out a copy of it, because all I ever had was line art, and I did some thumbnails and colored them, as you can see, and now I just need to decide which thumbnail that I like the most, which is kind of difficult because I like most of them. So, like I said, I'm fairly new to, actually I'm brand new to coloring with markers. Something that was a bit of a challenge for this is that I really only had one light skin tone, so I was using the blue to try to counteract and use it as a shade and try to layer up my color a little bit just so that I can get some kind of value in her skin. I liked it at first. Everything laid down super easy, and I was really enjoying coloring at this point. I've always wanted to use markers, but they were just always out of my price range. So I was just building up the color, and something that I noticed with the lighter colors that it was hard. I've watched a lot of coloring videos, other time lapses by other artists that use markers, and they seem to be able to just use that one color and layer it a few times to get a darker shade. But with my lighter colors on this, I really wasn't seeing that happening too much. I was able to blend both of these lighter colors fairly well. Here I am trying to get like a darker brown, but it wasn't really working. So I kind of gave up on the skin for now, and I moved on to the hair. I wanted to try to just use all of the colors that I had gotten in the sets to kind of see what works, and what other colors I think I might need, because what I'm probably going to end up doing is using these as my main set, and then because these are the only colors that our alternative makes, so that's kind of a downside. I mean, it's really nice. The price point I think is totally worth it. I've completed this piece, and I enjoyed using these for the most part. I think they're going to be a really good alcohol marker for me to learn on. There's definitely some things that I don't like about them, but overall, I feel like it's a really good value. So anyways, I'm probably just going to use them in combination with other brands' alcohol markers and start picking up some different skin tones and mid-tone colors for what I do have, so that I can do a more array of blending. I'm still fairly happy with it. I was able to achieve, considering I only had, well, I started out with only 15 markers, but then I decided why not, and I went back to Michael's and I bought the fourth packet, which was mostly just the primaries, but at least then I had an actual red and a yellow, and those colors. I'm getting sort of good coverage as I'm coloring in the wings. It's a little splotchy, but it's a pretty big area, so I probably could have smoothed it out more as I was going, but I knew I was going to go in and add shading. That was what I was most exciting about, was doing some kind of color blend in the wing. So at this point, I'm still fairly happy with it. I make a few good decisions and bad decisions as I go along with the illustration. So right now, I'm getting ready to start trying to figure out how to shade the wings, and I started off with probably one of the more darker blues that I got in my set, and then did some mid-tones to try to blend it out, and I'm just coloring on regular cardstock for, printer cardstock, and it's taking the markers really well. It was just the easiest thing for me to print on, since I was coloring in my, existing line art. And I really enjoyed, the wings are probably my favorite, just because I really like the color blend from one dark to another. And I am so sorry for the yellow. If you did or did not know from my last video, my phone died. I dropped it. It is no longer working. So I have a stand-in phone until I get my better phone replaced. And for some reason, it decided to record everything in a yellowish hue. I'm going to try to correct that for future videos, but that's why the quality and the coloring kind of dropped. So here I'm going back to the skin, and I really wanted more contrast. And I'm not really sure if it helped or hurt my overall look. It's just looking at it, it was all just the same tone, and I really like a lot of contrast, so I wasn't too happy with it. It definitely looks a lot better when it's not a weird shade of yellow across the entire screen, but I went in with some blue and blended it out more. and started adding in different colors to overlap and try to get the different values that I'm missing on this piece. The right side of the wing went a lot quicker because I had already learned how I wanted to get my kind of ombre fade from one color to another on her left side. So I was able to do that fairly quickly. The only thing, the entire picture has a yellow hue to it right now. But I think because of all the green that I used, overall, everything kind of ended up with a more yellow look than I was initially going for. But, it was still fun. I'm going to be doing a lot more alcohol marker pieces, so I'm going to learn as I go. I went in with some Prismacolor colored pencils to try to add a little bit more details and just try to smooth out some of the shading. It works a little bit, but I mostly wanted this to be an all alcohol marker piece, as I'm trying to figure it all out. Same thing because I'm also reviewing the hashtag coloring. I didn't use any of my other ones. This is a bad decision. I was trying to do some kind of background and I'm not happy with it. But that's what I did. It's still pretty. I still had a lot of fun. My final thoughts on this brand is that it was worth it. Like I said, I'm going to continue using them. I'm not going to take them back. I enjoyed it. And so for anyone else that's thinking about buying these, if you can't afford Winsor & Newton, Prismacolor, Copics, and you have these available to you, definitely get them. Especially if you can get them for only $6. I don't know if I would spend the $10 because you can also get the Blick Studio colors for that price as well. But if you can get them for $6, it is definitely a great investment. So here it is without the yellow hue. And so if you liked everything, please like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if you have any suggestions of what you want me to see color in the future. Thanks.